Hello and welcome back. Today we are continuing our rice warlord run as Japan in Victoria 3 in patch 1.5, the public open beta, which of course does have some issues. We are currently the rice warlord. That is right. We are producing the rice, and if the price is nice, it will entice. Hopefully, half the world's supply will suffice. Now, if we look at production on map, we can actually see we are producing an enormous chunk of the world's grain overall. You know, normally this heat map is super skewed towards China. Notably, that's not China, that's part of Japan there, and so we are producing enormous quantities of the world's rice, and we are hoping this kind of episode to maybe, finish fixing up our economy. Last episode, we turned rice into gold, and we started really turning up by not focusing on the rice as much, because we overproduced rice way too much in the previous episode. So this episode, hopefully we managed to fully fix the economy, get free from the British Customs Union, which will greatly decrease the amount we're paying in interest because we're a major power instead of a GP. And then also, Great Britain is running a, what is it called? They're running tariffs. So we're making money in tariffs, but we'd much rather our rice be more profitable than making money in tariffs. And so it would be preferred that, instead of collecting, let's see, what's our tariff on, what is our tariff on, grain? Look, we're collecting so much more off the grain tariff than we are anything else, but we'd rather make our rice farms more profitable. So getting free will help us in that front. As someone pointed out in the comments, us adding convoys will also help to increase the trade route size. Unfortunately, it won't increase it too terribly much because of A, the tariffs, and also B, if we look at all the rice we can export now. Now that our other stuff has started to come up, I guess the exports are looking a little bit better. It wasn't looking this good, a couple episodes ago when we tried to export a bunch, but we're already exporting a ton of routes really, really large anyways. But this will help out, and maybe it's because we have the surplus convoys, but as you can see, this is requiring a lot of convoys, and we are already exporting to quite a few people. So we will try and export the rice, which of course is going to make us some money in terms of tariffs, which isn't really what it's about here. We'd prefer to not be tariffing, and also we would prefer that our convoys go more towards our route. I'm not sure exactly how it works in terms of whose convoys are used to support the trade. I believe our convoys support our trade, but a large chunk of our convoys go to the British market instead of our own. What's this? Oh, the East India Company entered the Dutch market. This makes so much sense why we were having problems last episode. Oh my god. So last episode, it kind of just felt like the economy kind of just started struggling. Yeah, if this is the case, and you can see that this is relatively productive route, this was a huge chunk in the Great British market in terms of the demand orders. I know they had become independent, but I didn't realize that they had, left in that way. So we'll also check the fruit, and we'll see Dutch market also accepting a ton of fruit. And so we will do that as well. And so this is actually we should actually experience a fairly big come up, from being able to export and kind of raise up the price. Again, the price is going to be depressed either way a little bit by Mappy, but we are also producing way too much sulfur, so we can see if we can export that a little bit, courtesy of last episode. And we are pretty heavy in the food industries, although we see that we cannot export it too well. It won't make money into that market, but let us find the groceries as well, and these also will make money, and so we will create a lot of buy orders here, which will help us to specialize more in groceries. We would rather run our grain up the chain, because groceries consume sugar, rice, and everything nice, and so this will help us to be able to, create chains through which we can gain extra efficiency and also output goods. You see, grocery prices super depressed. If we produce more groceries, more will get consumed, and so this will be preferable as we kind of move forward. But we really have things we need to focus on before we leave the British market, which is that we kind of checked and saw what we have, not enough of, and engines was one of the things, and what was the other thing? Clothes is one of the things. And so before we leave their market, we'll make sure to produce engines and clothes. We have a really fat queue. Right now we are on the gold precious metal syndicate, which, looking forward to the 10% juice on our minting, which is going to be an additional 15k or 13k, something around that. So that's going to be super good. But also, finishing a whole bunch of gold mines with the 31% construction bonus we're getting on this is going to also help us out a lot, kind of moving forward. And then next tech, we will be researching another company. And I think what we might do is we might hold on to this bonus here and use the other company for the construction bonus. But coming back to the queue, what else we have kind of coming up is a lot of railways, a lot of auto construction here, stuff coming through, and then we're going to do iron pretty heavily in the focus, and then we got some government admins, and we got some ports to help us establish more convoys. We might kick some of these ports up to the front, but we really do want to finish the gold first. And so let's unpause and see if anything changes with the other. Oh my god, look at that. Instantly plus 24k on the balance, just from unpausing, and I wonder what that jump was coming from, you know, in regards, or, well, just kidding, didn't mean any of it, but I was thinking that the trade routes as they set in might start to really help us out quite a lot. Also, as some of these gold mines finish, this can also be, you know, a pretty big kick up. Not expecting to get too many gold mines. Gold mines are notably, the inputs are affected by MAPI, but the outputs are not affected by it. It seems to be the case, and so this will help out a lot. But yeah, still in a little bit of a sticky spot. Maybe what changed is the amount of IPT that was coming in versus going out, but we will continue on our way, and of course turn on that PM, which will make more demand for engines too. So we really have to get engines at the back end too. So we got our prosperity bonus activated on the precious metal syndicate, and if we take a look at the minting, we see we do get several hitches up. I think this hitch was when it activated, and this hitch is just kind of us slowly finishing some of these gold mines. But now we're going to be making a bit of money. I think we're going to look to rake back, you know, some of this debt before we really try and spend more into this, because the interest rate is quite high. You know, you can kind of run like 50% debt as a major power, and it depends on how much tech you have, but we just kind of ran the debt up a little bit too much, and I think the main reason is because we're kind of used to 1.3, 1.4, where you can build into stuff a little bit easier, but the increased construction cost of everything, I feel made it so we just couldn't quite build into our sort of deficit as well as we normally would like to. We do have this play brewing up with China. We're going after Guangxi, and the reason we're going after this is because their market is in Guangdong, and because of this, this means that we will get quite a good kind of thing going on, because we'll cut off their market and hopefully we manage to implode all of China. We're probably going to add some war goals here at the very end, you know, to try and get a little bit more out of this, but we'll have to have a think about what exactly it is we want, and probably take a look at some of the provinces. Oh yeah, would you look at that come up, just kind of like off the start of the episode. It's barely been any time and we're already up 10 milli. We have a huge positive balance, and I think a big part of it is this minting cranking up. So, you know, maybe this is actually just a tremendously strong company. Now, the problem here is we can't well, there's no company for railroads, which we're producing a lot of railroads right now, kind of in terms of where we're putting stuff in the queue. But we can't juggle companies for the construction bonus if we have this one set in. So this is going to be one of the reasons why business banks is going to be nice. But I think what we might do is we might juggle the ports to the front as well. We had a whole bunch of ports kind of put in, and look to kind of keep the mines in the very back of the queue, the iron mines, and I think we'll check what other mines we already have going, but the idea is we want to have the construction bonus for all of these as we're building them, and so we're going to kick them back to the queue at the end of the queue because we want them all to be, you know, together. That way we kind of get to cycle through our bonuses pretty well. And also, we did mention we do want these ports. Now, we're getting in on China. Looks like we're doing pretty well in this war. Again, warfare is not very stable in 1.5 in its current iteration, but we are going to polka dot their territory. That's how you know the rice warlord is coming in. It's the polka dots. So Suez are a little bit weird. We have a subject in Argentina, right? And they are having a native uprising. And so, of course, let's ask them for a transfer state. This will occur 0 infamy. And I think we're going to go for Tucumán. And I know what you're thinking. Why Tucumán? I've never heard of this state. Well, there's a little bit of gold there and some resources there. And we can actually build out dyes there. And we want to be building out in every place that doesn't have rice. This is where we want to build all the cash crop type stuff, so we do actually we'll put this dye plantation on auto expand to help supply our market, especially because we need to be adding clothes in order to get free from the British market. And so we're going to offer support, and we're going to ask for transfer states, and we're going to ask for, of course, Tucumán. however it's pronounced, and this will be super nice for us because we'll kind of get in on the state for free, and it's not going to cost us any infamy, which rhymes, of course, which is nice, along with our rice, and the polka dots of us kind of going in. This is probably my favorite feature of Japan. When you invade people, you just polka dot the crap out of them. Looks like we can put a bunch more profitable exports in for rice again. Not sure exactly what this is. I guess they're mostly revolts, but we'll put in anyways. We would want the rice routes for if they win the revolt, and also this might be due to us, you know, kind of having more convoys. If we take a look, maybe we can see some of our trade routes and just sort by units, and we see, yeah, we're dumping a ton of rice into the Dutch market, and of course this is because they have, you know, this is in their market, which is going to be pretty nice. But like overall the volume is maybe not, well, actually the volume of rice or grain outgoing is pretty big, I think, and so this is going to be helping us out a lot in general. We maybe want to, nah, this is fine. This is kind of where we want to be. So we have this peace deal coming in, and hopefully the incorporation of some of these Chinese provinces, they actually eat some more grain, which would be big nice for our prices of our rices, and so this will be good. We also, wow, that's such a big come up in terms of income just from that little blip. We also had like construction back up over 600. Huge bump to the GDP. Of course, that is largely off the sub farms, but we also just get this territory for free, of which we built up another rice, or sorry, not rice, this is gold. This is, as it were, yellow rice, because the rice farms are basically free gold, but now we have the extra GDP from, you know, the arable land here, but also the additional consumption of these buildings, which is going to be pretty nice, and it also gives us a place to maybe build silken dyes. The problem is we have the option between that and rice, and I mean, I know we have a lot of rice, but is there really such a thing as too much rice? There definitely is. We definitely have to, like, lock it up to some degree. But this is going to make good places. These two places in particular, I think we might build dyes and silk and then clothes, and just build one rice up to 51 in each of these, and then let the rest be dyes and silk in terms of our overall strategy here. I think this would be fairly good in terms, like, for what we're doing. We're definitely going to need to add a lot more construction. We're kind of about to get the new banks, which is going to be pretty nice, because we'll be able to add a sort of company for producing the railroads. Also, we get percussion cap. Now, I believe that we just kind of want to, the two places we really have a lot of barracks, I think we just kind of want to do this on auto expand, and this will come in, and this will be pretty good too, because if I recall correctly, well, actually, the goods for all the military buildings might just be horribly messed up, but we don't have any production of ammo. Currently, we have skirmish infantry, and if we are looking to get for free of the British market, this is going to be something that we care about. Looks like the landowners are not happy, which is unfortunate, because we would love to have, like, we are getting minus tax income on something we really care about. We would love to have these guys happy. I mean, they're jingoist. Maybe, well, we can't exile him now, but maybe we need to try and make these guys happy. This is one thing that's, like, a little bit annoying with this rice strategy, is because it's hard to make them happy, it's hard to get their bonuses, and so we have this tax malice instead of some sort of bonus, you know, which would be preferable. So just kind of cruising around. We just passed dedicated police, which is one of the reasons they're big sad, you know, and maybe I'm not used to trying to play with the landowners being strong. Maybe we needed some sort of strategy that leans more their way. I mean, agrarianism leans their way. They kind of like that relative to most other things except traditionalism. But yeah. Ooh, we can increase education. Love to see that. We can also incorporate all these, so we'll probably be swapping over PMs on the newly acquired territories, and also adding construction, more construction, probably up to around 750, maybe 1k-ish. So we finished business banks to do, that makes sense, and we will be upgrading our max number of companies by 1, which means now we can kind of try and farm some of the throughput on the mining. Now we're going to do the metal mining consortium, which I actually think is one of the better ones, because 10% steel mills building throughput is pretty nice, and this will allow us to, you know, have a little bit of a come up. Now, at the front of the queue, we do have some government admins, and we kind of need them, but we kind of don't. So what we're going to do is we're going to cruise through our queue. Is the Q crews, and we're going to look for anything that's a lead mine or an iron mine, and we're going to bring those to the front of the queue. The idea being, now we are getting a 31% construction bonus on all these things, and so, I mean, that's a ton of efficiency, especially because they nerfed the construction centers writ large, which used to give a lot of state construction efficiency. Now they don't really give it, and so this will help us. Now I believe it was lead and iron, and so we see a couple of lead here and there in the queue. We're going to make sure to move that to the top of the queue, and so this will be nice as well. That's a iron mine as well. And then at the top of the queue, we're also going to add, we added a ton of iron, and we didn't really think about, adding too much lead, so we're just going to kind of look by earnings, and wherever we have at least a smattering of earnings, we're just going to add a couple lead. It's not a lot, but just a little bit here and there will hopefully kind of put us in a good spot, and this way, we will not be constructing any of this stuff for a while. Once we finish all these, goods, once we finish like this entire queue and we clear it out, we're hoping to not need to construct iron and lead for quite some time. We don't even have that smallest shortage of iron, so, but it does go through kind of some important chains for us. We might do motor industries after that, depending on how things kind of feel, just prepping for getting out of the market. We also didn't realize that UK was bankrolling us, and so when we lost that diplomatic pact, big decrease in our money kind of making schemes, and so while we did get a pretty big chunk out of the debt, and we have come up in GDP quite a lot, we are running a deficit again, so we do kind of want to get out of the market relatively soon and start making our own money moves, not mummy's money moves. There we go. Something that we're going to do, since we got pump jacks, is we're going to cruise through Africa and kind of just look and see individual states, and what we're going to do in each of these states is put one industry on auto expand. Now I know it's going to put railroads in, and railroad usage in. I suppose we actually want to kick this down, but we also eventually do want to have railroads here, but I wish there was a more efficient way to do this PM where we could kind of swap all the PMs at once and still feel like we're doing efficiently, but for the most part, what we are going to be looking to construct is we are going to be looking to auto expand on some things, namely we don't want to expand on tobacco too much because we want people to consume liquor instead as their intoxicant, and then we are also going to be looking to expand on dyes and cotton, and we are going to look to avoid expanding any on millet. The reason being for avoiding expanding on millet is obviously we're going to have a glut of supply in the form of grain. We can let this place auto-expand coffee, I suppose. And so this is kind of informing our overall strategy here that will, our overall strategy. We do want to push this high for economies of scale. We do want that to not have, it's quite a bit of a problem here where, we have this on a PM that's not going to be, oh, did they change it? So no, okay, yeah, it's using transportation. Why is transportation cheap there, though? I'm a little confused. Okay, so there's the railroad there. We built railroads in a bunch of places, so that place is fine to do that. Do we have a railroad down here? We do have a railroad here, so we, of course, do want to actually use the rail transportation. And so this is kind of our strategy, though. In the places that aren't rice, we want to obviously produce non-millet type of stuff, even though millet previously was a really good one. So we're cranking up here in the university up to level 51. We also have what looks like kind of an unwinnable war. We're just going to try and bink it off the back of the AI is really bad at this current juncture. And so, or the war is kind of broken right now, and worst case scenario, we just kind of only enforce on Tripolitania, but in best case scenario, we get some German war reps, something like this. And so hopefully that'll work out relatively okay. It isn't too crazy. The only thing that's a little bit unsettling, perhaps, is these guys got swayed, and we don't know what their sways were for. We swayed the UK. We don't know what the UK's sway, or we know the UK's humiliate Spain, but we don't get to see it until the war breaks out, which of course is, kind of a feature, not a bug, of 1.5 in its current state. But yeah, we saw that we were kind of getting back to break-even money, where the GDP's cranked up 50 million since we started, which wasn't too long ago, and so I think we want to get up to the 51 unis because economies of scale is very, very strong, especially in like places like this. Now, unfortunately, there isn't. Our capital doesn't have sulfur production, so this might be something to think about moving forward. Is generally you want to build the unis high in the capital because this will boost Intelligentsia clout, and they're generally considered a good interest group that has trouble getting over 20% clout. Like, I think ours is not above 20% clout, and so if you get them over 20%, you double their bonus. If you are building a ton of universities in place, it will consume paper, but really it's not that much paper. It's only 13k worth of buy orders of paper. Okay, I was just double checking that we didn't do something horribly wrong, but this will mean that you want to maybe build paper where you have like the capital, but the problem is paper is going to consume dyes and sulfur here, and so it would be preferable to build in a place where you have sulfur. Also, on top of that, in a place where you have sulfur, you can build later on synthetic plants which will consume more sulfur, and so this might be a feature of a good place to put a capital is going to be now with the local goods prices. It's going to be where you have, interestingly, where you have sulfur production. Maybe. We'll see. Brazil doing Brazil 1.5 beta things, losing Piratina Revolt, because they're subject. We won the Tripolitania War, but couldn't enforce on Germany for war reps, and now we annexed Nejd, and we're going for Bahrain, looking to get that tasty black rice. And by black rice, I mean oil, of course. So we're in a spot where we're making a good amount of money, but I think what we're going to do is we're going to let ourselves kind of burn off some of this debt, because we do want to break free from the customs union soon, which is why we're overbuilding our government administrations a little bit. We want to be able to do all the trade routes. We're also building up convoys a little bit, and on top of this, we do have coming in, the steel frame buildings, which we will be able to turn on later and kind of cost up. And then on top of that, we also want to expand education and institution, which we just unlocked the higher level. And so all of this working together, I think we're going to, eat a little bit of inefficiency for some time in terms of our spending. We're also going to be getting more money back from decreased interest rates once we break free. However, we're not quite ready to do that, but we are getting very close to where we want to turn up. And by turn up, I mean not turn down. And by turn down, I mean turn down for rice. But what I mean by turn up, of course, is that we want to get to the place where we're going after the motor industries. Just so we kind of don't forget, I think we're going to disband this now, which we do really like the steel mine throughput, but we're going to instead swap over and get our engine construction bonus, because we're coming up on that soon, and we don't want to accidentally miss it, this sort of thing, which of course is probably going to make us lose a little bit of money on the construction goods cost, decreases the throughput on the iron, which is going to be a little bit sad, but more than worth it. And we'll look and see if we can have a useful war, but we have a lot of infamy right now anyways. I think we're going to want to swap on the meat packaging, even though we aren't using canneries everywhere, and it's all pretty close. The thing is, Jars is the least efficient PM, but it uses the most grain, and bringing up the price of grain in general is good. However, because we have so many rice farms. However, I think we're going to go meat packaging. Hopefully that doesn't collapse the economy. I suppose we could let it tick. But this is going to produce way more groceries, which is going to encourage the consumption of groceries in terms of, the replacement effects or substitute goods. And this is also something I sometimes get wrong when I'm thinking about it, because I think price matters. And apparently it doesn't matter much in terms of what people are consuming. And we have some place we need to reset. I assume that place is not going to be so good on that front, so we'll just in terms of having rails wherever it is, and we will just kind of turn some of the PMs back up. Overall 1.5 has left kind of much more tedious PM thing, because like we don't want to swap everything because we don't know where it has transport, where it doesn't, and I think there is some like improvements to be made in terms of the UI to help this along. But we are getting close to the point where we want to just leave the market, because we are into the motor industries now, and of course we are building up to level 51 here in Kanto, because what would a Japan run be without a Tokyo drift, especially now that automobiles are actually a decent PM, and so we'll just be going from 1 to 51, because Das Auto will be coming later, drifting into a theater near you for the rice and stuff. Yeah, So this is a pretty big one on steel frame building. I don't think we want to swap up in too many places all at once, considering we are going to be leaving the market soon, but this is also a really big deal. But I think since we have so much construction specifically here that we're putting in, that maybe we would like to have a little bit of more of a construction bonus. So we'll swap up to steel frame here, which of course is going to eat a pretty penny, and it's going to create some very, very spiky local demand here. But in return, we'll get a little bit more state construction efficiency, which will help us to construct, these just a little bit faster, and we'll get the price of engines down way, way, way lower, which is kind of a very important input, especially because eventually we're planning on going like threshing machine, which I believe requires... eventually we want to start getting onto steam power threshing. Oh, I guess it's just tools and coal. That'll be a pretty penny in both tools and coal when we get to it, because it has double inputs and outputs, and it looks like it's natural spreading to us. As far as tech goes, the game does feel quite a bit different now that we're on some of these things, or now that we are in patch 1.5. We kind of would like ironclad gantry, but we're really far off from that in terms of making our market better. So I think we're going to go civilizing mission. Maybe we go human rights. It would be nice to actually unlock the last level of education level, but maybe we just want mutual funds. I'm not sure. Commercialized agriculture would actually be pretty nice. I think we maybe pivot a little bit. I'm not sure exactly. I actually really don't know in this spot what tech we're supposed to go for. Maybe we go rotary valve into electrical generation and just try and get that going, something like that. We could also push ahead, but we would want to push ahead for malaria prevention, and that's like, we need so much society tech to make that good. Well, considering we need so much society tech to make that happen, why don't we just push central banking? We'll get that research really fast, and then maybe go human rights for the whole point of, getting into compulsory primary school and maybe civilizing mission, and kind of take this sort of route. And then we also have, and I have forgotten to do this kind of a lot, but survey a skyscraper site here, which is going to be pretty nice, because we will be able to build a skyscraper in the capital. And we also have an interest in Egypt, so I'm a little curious why we can't, I'm pretty sure we have an interest in Egypt, why we can't, and we have an interest, we definitely have an interest in Panama. So, is it because someone else beat us to the British Panama? Is that what's going on? And so, did someone else beat us to, no one has stuck their finger in Egypt's pie yet, so why can't we do Suez Canal? Okay. Does it require civilizing mission now? I know the other one, this one requires civilizing mission now that I think about it. Oh well. Well, we will continue on, very close to a little bit of a turning point here, though. And who could, of course, forget the great nemesis of the UK, the South African religious revolt, which they could not possibly defeat without any sort of assistance, so they will give near anything in order to turn them down. Now, we're about to leave their market, and we would actually, big nice, really like to have, maybe some of the subjects that they have. And so we have to really make a decision between Australia and, I suppose to some extent Venezuela, but I think Upper Canada is going to be the way to go for us. And so we'll just look for that. And hey, they will give up Upper Canada because, again, such a fierce enemy could not possibly be brought down on their own, and they of course accept our support with this reverse sway. And next we will see Indonesia here. Will you give us anything? No, not really, war goals, but you will transfer a state to us, and so this is actually pretty nice. We have some of this, so we could clean up this border. Also Dutch inner Mauritania, of course they will take the inner stuff and then knock us the outer, but we also have Dutch Gabon and Dutch Congo. And I think that getting them out from colonizing here with taking Dutch Congo from them will of course be big nice, because then we can get more of this share of this stuff, and so that'll be nice for us. We are also currently at war with Congo, and so this, in a sense, this lets us kind of declare multiple wars here. We also could have taken a bankroll from the UK, and maybe that would have been good, but now they're in the British market, but as our subject, and so when we leave their customs union, we're going to be in a much better shape, kind of as things go. Looks like the True Shield states ask for diplomatic pacts. We could ask them for a bankroll. I don't think they could afford to bankroll us. I believe it's based on our income, but sure. Let's see if they can try and make that happen. That's kind of weird. They should bankrupt, but I don't know if it just makes it so, you know, we just get a ton of money. That'd be hilarious if they could somehow bankroll just this huge negative. So Ontario is a puppet paying us a ton of money, and we know that the Trucial states just accepted, but the question is we actually really want them to win that war now that I think about it, though. Wait, why can't we mobilize this guy? He's not under our control? Chicka what? Alright, but we will put this in on that, since they accepted our help. We will kind of just recruit a guy and designate a strategic objective. But I'm actually keen on seeing if it is so bugged up, man, that they will actually diplopact us up. Which would be absolutely wild if the Trucial states. I think we gotta wait for the war to break out for that to go through. Did we miss a opportunity there? We might have missed an opportunity to get a reverse sway, but we're about to enforce here on Congo, which is super big nice, and now we're involved in another conflict, so we can't do any war, but we do get a little bit more surface area into the Congo by annexing Congo, but... Okay, so now this war has started, and so this is the question. Can they pay us? Yep, Mr. Moneybags Trucial states over here letting us know that 174k, that's for us. Okay, so we got a little bit of a funny situation. We got the pop-up that said that they declared bankruptcy, and then as soon as they declared bankruptcy, it seems that they no longer pay us a Diplopact, which is amusing. We got a couple takes of getting an absolute enormous amount of money from them, but now no more. We are going to try and land in order to actually make them not lose to the revolt. I thought we would get our guy there in time. Maybe not, I suppose. So there's that. What do we have the front on? Oh, we have this is our unassigned front. Okay, so we get this in. So we're fulfilling our end of the bargain, but somehow they're just not paying us anymore. Terrible. Absolutely. It's just not how you do business with the Rice warlord. We'll annex them sometime after this disrespect for the Rice. So we are just about finished with all these engines we have in the queue, kind of abusing the industry. We see that we just have a few remaining. After this, we will have to do clothes, and then we will leave the market. I think we're gonna leave this for next episode. This episode, we got to do some business things. That little stint with the Trucial states was pretty funny, just like hitting a huge bankroll for one day. But I think the big story here is that gold is actually absolutely insane, mainly because the outputs do not seem to be depressed by MAPI, and so like you know, normally this is one of the reasons, but the outputs are not depressed by MAPI outgoing as far as I can tell, and we are benefiting a lot from the throughput bonus here, so it's just an extra 20% juice. So like all of our gold mines, which make up a pretty big like portion of our minting, like near half of our minting, not quite half, but you know, like 30-40% of our minting are getting a 20% juice. So instead of like 1.27, they're 1.47 in terms of the inputs and the outputs. So this is tremendous. But on top of that, we are getting the 10% bonus from the company here for minting. So maybe Precious Metal Syndicate, just like running this, will be super meta, at least if you are at the point which is before you get the hit the GDP cap on minting, which we're about to hit at 200 million. But until we hit that, what this represents is if we divide this number by 1.2, we get like 308, and so we are getting plus 10% from precious metal, plus 10% from banking. So what this plus 10% represents is like 30k extra money in our coffers from running this. And as far as companies go, at least at this point in time, this does seem to be, you know, kind of the way to go, or what's important. And so this was a little bit interesting to see this super big come up off the gold. I was not expecting us to kind of explode over 80 million just fairly quickly, and so that was pretty nice. Obviously the sways are still like busted. I assume these will get readjusted along with the rice stiff. I just don't think that they keep this in the game, and if they do, it's absurd. that this is just, it's not that the building is out of line once it's constructed. The building is fine, but what's out of line is the fact that it costs half as much as it should, and so it's like getting 2 buildings for the price of 1, in terms of like what it looks like, and just on a per construction basis, it's absolutely, it's an insanity. It's unreal. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, feel free to rice, comment, and subscribe. And other than that, have a good one. And next episode, we will be getting out of the UK's market. I do want to see what kind of happens then. Overall, still think that 1.5 really depresses economies. Like, this level of construction and this GDP is not your normal, what you can normally get to. And so I do think this is a feature, or depending on how you want to frame it, it's a feature of 1.5. But anyways, other than that, yep, have a good one.